Hey guys, it's Tibbs and Dixie here for Purple Newbie Juice on Thanksgiving. It's about 1:45. You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? You wanna say hi? Anyways, my next project's gonna be this ideal. It's a cook the Toledo Cocker Company from Toledo, Ohio. This is a piece that I picked up over the summer in Palmer, Massachusetts. I basically saw it on Let Go. It was for sale, and it's in really, really rough shape. I ended up trading it for a horse head topper, a fence post topper, and I got this and some kind of funnel and another about 3 or 4 items, and I traded it, on even Stevens for this. Like I said, it's in real rough shape, and I'm gonna have to repurpose it. I probably won't use the original hardware because it won't be complete unless I, of course, only use one of these in the middle on each of them. I'm gonna have to come up with some new hinges, probably put some kind of cap on these, or we'll figure something out. But it's all lined with this aluminum type stuff, and we'll put these to the side over here. I don't want to scratch anything else, but it looks like somebody tried taking it apart and didn't have much success, and it's probably the guy that I got it from, and they gave up on it. You can see where it's been pulled away here, and that's not typical with regular wear and tear. But over here at the bottom, it's coming apart, and up here, and if you look in there, it looks like there's hay of some sort, or string. I'm sure they have some kind of filler insulation stuff in there. But if I'm careful, I think I can take this apart and probably make it into some kind of storage trunk, a foot locker in a bed or something. It's got some weight to it. As you can see, the bottom is in real rough shape, and there's all kinds of some kind of mixture down there. So we're going to take this step by step and apart, and we're going to have to refinish this, redo it, and repurpose it, and I'm sure it's going to be pretty nice by the time we're done. All right, guys, we'll get back to you. Okay, obviously they had tried taking it off before. He must have tried being careful, thinking he was going to repurpose it, or not repurpose it, but try to bring it back to its original function. But it's not something that we would use nowadays, and I don't think it's very sanitary. So we did get the this all loose. It seems to be a giant aluminum piece. But I'm going to put you here. I want to be careful because, oh, look at that. Oh, shoot. I wanted to go a little slower than that. But it's got all this yuck in there. Let's put this down here. Okay, so this is what the inside looks like. It's some kind of cork material, and you're looking at probably some, I don't know if that's straw, hay. You know what it is? It's very fine shavings of wood, I believe. And there is a date on this. 1914. So this material in here This stuff here is over 100 years old. Like 116 years old almost. So we're going to get a trash bag, take this outside, and get rid of all this stuff. And it looks like there's 2 levels of that aluminum insert there that they used to put the food in, along with the caps over there. It's definitely an interesting thing, something they probably would have had at some kind of function, outdoor function, indoor function, I don't know, maybe a wedding or something to serve soup in or stews. But I don't know how. I would guess they would rely on the heat of the food to keep it hot. There's no way they could have fueled it that I can see, except through maybe the top, but heat rises. Anyways, we'll get back to you when we get further on. All right, later, guys. Okay, guys, so that we got rid of all the wood chips, the curly. They must use some kind of wood plane to make those wood chips. And I don't know, some kind of cork stuff that was in there. And then on the very bottom was some kind of felt. Hopefully it wasn't like asbestos, felt mixed or whatever. But this is in really rough shape. They had little blocking systems in here made out of real cheap pine, and the construction of this is pretty, it's all, as you can see, stadoed out, and then they just glued in position these little blocks, no nails, no screws. And these things were probably thrown together pretty quick. We still have the covers over here, the lids, that I have to get the aluminum off of. But it's pretty much it's a box, a fancy box with some raised paneled sides, front and back, and we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with it and put it back together again. We'll have to put a new bottom on it. But it's going to have some work to get this looking nice. It'd be nice to be able to take it all apart and redo each piece individually. And if it allows me to do that, I will. But I don't think without breaking some of the dado pieces it's gonna happen. I might be able to get a couple boards out, but I'm just gonna have to like reinforce with screws and glue and clamps to get this whole base back to normal. But I'm gonna take all the hardware off. I'm gonna try getting this plate off, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, and sand it and get it all squared up, glued, put a new bottom on it. Reinforce it the best I can, figure out what I'm going to do with the inside, and clear off the tops, and we'll get back to you when I get a little further down the road. Alright, guys. Okay, guys, so for the most part we got the cooker in a bunch of pieces. Still got to take off the hardware and that front plate there that says Ideal on it, and we still have to get the tops, the aluminum pieces off the tops. These are the only nails. There was a couple more on the bottom, and this is 1914. I don't know if these nails are typical. They look like pretty, I don't know if it was a product of their time, should I say. But it's good that I was able to get most of this apart. I don't want to tempt fate with that one joint that you can see right there. The screws holding those pieces of hardware on are really, really tough. They're going to need some work getting out without stripping the heads on them. We will get that taken care of though, and I just wanted to show you that we got this thing mostly all taken apart. And other than that, other than these nails here, it was basically just the the joints and glue that held this whole thing together. So it's pretty incredible from 1914 that it lasted as good as it did. Once you get one piece loose, though, it doesn't take much for whatever kind of glue they used back then to come apart. There's a couple spots where I need to repair a little bit. I'll have to glue on the strips that I accidentally taken it apart, peeled away a little bit, but it's still intact for the most part, where it'll go exactly back in place with clamps and glue. You'll never know it. So we'll come back to you when we get a little further along. Thanks. Okay, guys, we got most of the hardware off. We got the Ideal, the Toledo, Cocker Company, Toledo, Ohio. We got this tag off. We got the hardware off for the most part. There's one more hinge over there. Right now we're hand sanding the pieces. I'd like to try to get this apart without damaging it. But what you want to do is, from being moved around, carted around, these edges here can get like little nicks in them and stuff like that, and sometimes they can splinter. When people are looking at furniture, they like to feel it. And the last thing you want is just somebody to be going like this and catching a sliver and having to go up their finger. So you want to make sure that when you're hand sanding that you get all those possible potential slivers off of the material, so that isn't going to be an issue. You never know what kind of allergic reaction somebody might have with the material, the oil, or the stain, or the varnish, or even the wood getting in there and blistering and causing issues. So, take your time, get all these edges nice and smooth, free of potential slivers, and we're going to continue sanding this by hand for the most part. We don't want to take too much of the stain off, because when we go over it with the oil or the rejuvenating oil, it'll hold. It'll actually darken up pretty close to the original stain. Not 100%, probably around 68-70%, which will give it a nice look, kind of like what that entertainment center that we did earlier. All right, we'll get back to you. Okay, guys, I'm doing the tops now. The whole base part of the cabinet's all put back together again, all glued and clamped down. We're gonna sand these pieces off, shine up the aluminum tops. We're gonna leave these aluminum seal covers on just for conversation. It's not hurting anything. It doesn't restrict too much, maybe 1.25 inches of space that might be available inside as storage. But I think it'd be kind of neat to shine it up and leave them on there for a little bit of what it used to be, along with the original tag that's going to go back on here. Now the hardware itself is in pretty rough shape. It'd be nice if I could get I'm not even sure if these were brass at one point. I'm pretty sure they would have been brass. But when you look at that, and you look at these clips here, they don't even feel good to touch. They're real dirty and grimy. And I have some smaller ones, pretty close to it, but they're smaller, and they're probably, they're definitely vintage. I've had them for years, and I think I'm going to put one, if I can, on each of them. And as far as the hinges, there was only one hinge for the whole unit, and for me to go out and try to find 3 more hinges like this, these things are crazy. Would be very difficult if I actually had to drill this one out because of the rust on the one screw. So I'm gonna see if I don't have some smaller. I know I have some smaller hinges around, just straight up brass hinges, and we're gonna finagle those, or I might use some piano hinges. But I knew this wasn't going to be a project that was going to go back to original condition, because it's just not one of those items that, like the old refrigerators where you can buy the old hardware. At least I don't think so. I've never seen them available. But we're going to do what we can, restore it the best we can, and go from there. And I will show you how we do. All right, later. Okay, guys, there was these inserts that went into the top of the unit, and I'm not sure what they were for, but seeing how we're not using this for anything other than storage or just repurposing it, I have these knobs that came off of some kind of old piece of furniture, and basically they fit perfectly. We have a little crack here, but that just adds character. And then we had these very simple, these came with the unit, but these are a little more ornate, the handles on there. So even though the screw holes didn't line up, you never see it because these handles are a little bit bigger, a little fancier, and I think it adds just the right touch. So we're going to go with that for now. We got this one secured and this one secured. Now we're going to get the other two secured. Then we're going to work on the front pieces and the hinges. So we will get back to you. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Well, we got it all put back together again. I'm not going to put any snaps on the front. I'm just going to leave the old holes and hinge marks there. We do have the button handles in those holes where the whatever those things were. These little indentations in the top. Kind of adds a little character to it. It kind of hides the spot. I don't have to add any height to it, but I just put the rejuvenating oil on it. We changed out the handles. I just did a quick coat of the oil just so I could get this video uploaded tonight. But pretty much this thing was falling apart. And now it can be used as a decorative piece in somebody's home. And once again, it's built in 1914. It's got a really beautiful antique look to it, and in restored condition. So if you like these videos, please share, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you would have done differently. Excuse me. I hope you guys all had a happy Thanksgiving. And at this point, Tibbs out, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.